All right, we're just going to get started here in a second. Okay. So, good morning, everyone. I think most people I was expecting were here. If you haven't said hello in the chat yet, please do so. If somebody could please confirm for me that my microphone volume is good and that everything is coming through okay. I know some people are having some interesting Wi-Fi experiences today. Seems like there's some thunderstormy electrical stuff going on out there. So, just do what you can. Stick with this as you can, because we are having a very interesting lesson today around essay writing. And so I'm planning on, thank you, Zach. I'm planning on giving and basically going through a sort of joke version, but following the proper format of of an actual essay writing around themes using a kid's book. So I had shown you the green eggs and ham essay that I had done with my other class, and I asked my wife, and I said, so what kids' book should I do this time? And she was a big fan of my green eggs and ham essay. She's a psychologist, so she finds these experiments very fascinating. And she said Very Hungry Caterpillar. So I said, okay, yeah, so let's do Very Hungry Caterpillar. I think that most people are familiar with that. So we're going to take a quick look into the Google Classroom first, and then we're going to dive into writing an essay that follows the proper format using the Very Hungry Caterpillar. Okay, so I just wanted to point out also that I created a section called Essay Dropboxes, just so that it stays in one place and it's easy to find. Okay, so your introductory paragraph rough copy is due today. That's just one paragraph following the hook, the introduction of topic, and the thesis statement. Okay, so obviously we'll bounce it back and forth between our until we get into a good shape. It is literally a mark out of one, right? So engaging in the formative process is basically you're either doing it or you're not doing it. So it's all win if you're engaging in the process. So submit only your introduction paragraph or formative feedback here. Your first body paragraph rough draft is due tomorrow, and then your second body paragraph rough draft is due on Friday. Okay, the rest of it is into the future. Okay, yesterday's work down here at the bottom is the summaries for 16, 17, 18. And then for today, we have 19, 20, and 21. Not a lot to go on the book. So hopefully we'll be able to wrap that up real quick. It is due by the end of the week, as you can see by the structure there. If you wanted to get ahead and just keep working through and getting all the summaries done, tomorrow is 24, 25, 22, 23, 24, and then a final summary on whatever's left of the book after 24 at the bottom. When you're doing your summaries, remember, you're not just doing plot elements, you're talking about themes, you're talking about character changes, you're talking about big surprises, you're talking about what is the author wanting us to think about in this section. So it's meant to be a mixture of all those things together, okay? So spend some time doing that. Okay, so the green eggs and ham example essay, this is what I was talking about, where we were talking about filling in this chart based on an introductory paragraph, body paragraphs, and so on, structure with all of these prompts, right? So we have a hook, interesting statement or quote that catches the reader's attention. We have introduction of topic, describe how this topic relates to people in general, and then a thesis. What is your theme that you will prove exists? Okay, so we're going to write that for Very Hungry Caterpillar. So before we get into it too much, I want to make sure that you guys are familiar with this book. I'm sure you've seen it before in your life. Probably lots of people have not seen it in a long time, but it is a book by Eric Carle. It is a story of a very hungry caterpillar. So I'm going to read through it quickly, and then I'm going to prove a theme exists in it, just like I'm asking you to do for Little Brother. Okay? So The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up, and pop! Out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. He started to look for some food. I'm so hungry. On Monday, he ate through one apple, but he was still hungry. On Tuesday, he ate through 2 pears, he was still hungry. On Wednesday, he ate through 3 plums, but he was still hungry. On Thursday, he ate through 4 strawberries, but he was still hungry. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges, but he was still hungry. On Saturday, he ate through 1 piece of chocolate cake, 1 ice cream cone, 1 pickle, 1 slice of Swiss cheese, 1 slice of salami, 1 lollipop, 1 piece of cherry pie, 1 sausage, 1 cupcake, and 1 slice of watermelon. That night, he had a stomach ache. The very hungry caterpillar then ate through 1 green leaf. He started to feel better. Now the caterpillar was no longer small. He was a big fat caterpillar. He built a small house called a cocoon around himself. He stayed inside for more than 2 weeks. Then he nibbled a small hole in the cocoon and pushed his way out, and a beautiful butterfly. That is the whole story of the very hungry caterpillar. So, in the chat, if you're so inclined, when you read a book like this, what do you think a theme or a message that the author was trying to get across in this book? I'll just give you guys a second if anybody wants to contribute any theme ideas. Not seeing any in the chat so far. But overall, just thinking about, what is Eric Carle, the author, trying to get people to think about, or trying to get little kids to think about? Like, what life lesson are you trying to take from this story, right? I mean, some people might make the argument that it's a story for little kids to make them understand that trying new foods and trying things out is not a bad thing. There's some people that might argue that it's a story about determination and hard work. Stay true to yourself and your goals. I like that, right? So that's a good one, right? So if I take a look at this, my theme that I think I would like to try to prove, and I will admit that I was debating this over dinner with my wife yesterday, is, what is a theme that we can write an essay about? Trust your instincts, stay on course to your goal, even if others think you are taking it too far. Okay? So if I view the material here, I copy this. Okay? I'm going to write an essay in here based on this theme. Okay? So before I do that, I just quickly want to show you what paragraph structure I'm going to be using. Okay, so in the rough draft essay materials, there is this hamburger method. Okay, so I'm basically going to be using this down here for my body paragraphs. Okay, so remember to structure your paragraphs using the SEEC model. You make a statement, a topic sentence. You give an example, which is a direct quote from the book. You then explain in your own words what does that quote represent, and then you conclude the paragraph and connect it to the next. Okay? So I'm just going to leave this open here so that I can keep referring to it. Okay? So, introduction. You guys are now going to get to find out how fast I can type. Introduction, paragraph. We're looking for a hook, intro to topic, and thesis statement. Okay? So, when young people are growing up, it is often hard to self-advocate for what your true life goals are. Many people have lots of opinions about what you should be doing, how you should be doing it, and why and how you should spend your time. The truth is, nobody knows yourself better than yourself. This is also true of the main character, the very hungry caterpillar, from the book The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. This character goes through many steps to grow, develop, and eventually become a butterfly. Therefore, this essay will prove that the primary theme for readers to consider in this book is that one should trust their instincts when pursuing a goal, despite what others might say. Okay, so I literally just made that up off the top of my head. It probably has typos in it. I'm obviously spelling caterpillar wrong. But what it is trying to show you, or what I'm trying to show you here, is that it's not hard to do this hook, intro, thesis statement thing, right? So our hook, for example, hang on, I'm going to grab my mouse here. It is too hard to do this with the touchpad. Pardon me for a moment. There we go. Okay, so if we make the hook this color, we'll go green, okay? The hook is right here, okay? So this is your generalized statement related to sort of trying to get your reader interested, trying to get your reader focused, trying to get your reader to understand or follow through what you're planning on going, right? So just talking about yourself, talking about general things. Then we get to intro to topic, which we will make blue. The intro to topic is right here. And then your thesis statement, when again, a thesis statement is an answer to your question. The question is, what is a theme that exists in this book? Okay? So your thesis statement is in purple. Okay? So that is transferable and changeable into whatever it is that you want to do for little brother, right? So most people, I think, will focus on the main character of Marcus. You have your hook. You'll talk about some generalized sort of musing around whatever theme it is that you've picked. You'll then have an introduction to the topic by talking about how this is something that is experienced by the main character. And then you'll go into your thesis statement, which is simply an answer to your question. This essay will prove that the primary theme for readers to consider in this book is that one should trust their instincts when pursuing a goal despite what others might say. Okay? Don't forget to indent your paragraphs. And don't forget also, when you're talking about the book, to put it in quotation marks. Okay? Any questions about that before I move on to a body paragraph? Okay, I will come back to the chat shortly. So obviously, if you want to figure out what your examples are, you should figure this out before you start writing your body paragraphs. So now I have to return to the book and go, what are my 3 examples going to be on this situation? Like what, I'm thinking about stay the course to your goal, even if others think that you are taking it too far. What are my 3 examples going to be? So I think obviously if we're talking about the progression of the story, body paragraph number 1 being in the first third, body paragraph number 2 being in the second third, body paragraph number 3 being in the final third. The third paragraph, I already think I know what my example will be. This will be the payoff, right? So this is going to be the final page, right? Which is this one, a beautiful butterfly. So the quote is going to be, a beautiful butterfly, and my quote is going to be on page 23. Okay? So what are my other two examples going to be? So if I work my way backwards, I think I'm going to do that night he had a stomach ache as another example. And we'll put that on page 19. And then, so then the first example should come from the very beginning of the book, because my 19 and 23 are pretty close together. So I think I'm going to go through on Thursday and Friday. So on Thursday, he ate through 4 strawberries. On Thursday, he ate through 4 strawberries, but he was still hungry. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges, but he was still hungry. Okay, and this one is on multiple pages. So we do 8-9. Okay, so those are my quotes, my evidence for what I'm going to do. Okay, so my body paragraph structure is right here. Make a statement, give an example, explain in your old words what this quote represent, and then conclude the paragraph and connect it to the next. Okay, so we hit enter, we tab over. So the first thing we need to do is a topic sentence. Topic sentences for these essays are very simple, right? So keep it simple. If you're not comfortable, you're not sure, this is the first literary essay that you're going to write, so therefore keep it very simple. Oh, my caps lock is on. The first example we are this essay will explore is related to the hungry caterpillars. First, the hungry caterpillars eating in the earlier part of the week. At this point, the caterpillar is starting to really eat a lot of food as they are starting to consider making a cocoon. Not a cocoon. Okay? So this is where we put our quotation. Okay? So this is your topic sentence, or your topic sentences. Then you put your quotation. Okay? So as you can see, it just fits right into the paragraph with quotation marks around it. And then at the end, you put a bracket, you put the author's last name, and then you put the page numbers that it's found on. Okay? So I've made my statement, I've given my example, and now I'm going to explain in my own words what does this quote represent as related to my theme. Okay? So, in the context of the theme being explored, this example shows that the caterpillar is starting to eat a lot of food that is meant to make the reader question if it is too much. The caterpillar knows what it needs to reach its goal of becoming a butterfly. Oh, I used the wrong its. Good job, English teacher. But we are left guessing because we are not experts in caterpillar biology. Okay? So, therefore, this shows that the theme is meant to make us question why we judge others in pursuit of their goals when we might not know all the information involved. This is but the first example that shows this kid's book is far deeper than it appears on its surface. Okay? So, just going to put another color code in here for you. Okay? So, we'll do green topic sentence. Blue will be quote. Purple will be explanation. And then, I don't know, we'll say red will be conclusion. Okay? So, topic sentence is right here. Okay? Quote is right here. Explanation is right here. And conclusion is right there. Any questions about how I'm structuring this essay and how we're getting to where we're getting? I will just pause for a moment to see if anybody has anything to add to the chat. Is this making sense to people? I hope it is. But what's most important is that this is the guide that I'm going to be using when you send me draft paragraphs to say, like, here's my color code. Like, I'm just going to try to figure out where the different sections fall and how it all fits together. Okay? Essay writing, I mean, I must admit, I probably make it look pretty easy, but I've also been writing essays for a long time. The longest essay that I have ever written was over 100 pages long for my master's degree. Essay writing is something that my brain can process. It's just something that I can do in my head in a way that is very lucky for me, but it's not something that necessarily comes naturally to everybody. What I lack in math natural, I make up for in English natural affinities. So just know that if you're following the color-coded guide that I'm putting in this rough draft, you should be able to pull it all together, okay? Okay, second body paragraph. That night he had a stomach ache, okay? So that is what we're going to work on. I'm just going to put my color code here again, okay? Sorry that green is like super hard on the eyes. So, again, topic sentence. The second example, as you can see, we're going real functional at this point. If you want to use topic sentences that are a little bit more complex, a little bit more variety, please feel free. But I'm putting this as the first attempt, real straightforward kind of approach. The second example of this essay will tackle is related to when the caterpillar binges heavily on junk food the day before they enter the cocoon. Okay? After they eat Let's count. How many different things do they eat here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 different items. After the caterpillar eats 10 different items all at once, they exclaim, quote, they actually don't say it. The book notes that the, quote, well, let's make sure that the grammar works in this quotation before I say it officially. Okay? The notes, quote, that night he had a stomach ache. Okay? Oops, don't need a quotation back there. Again, putting the quote in, as you can see, this quotation actually fits in the sentence just like a part of the sentence, rather than it being a separate sentence like it was above. Okay? So you can use quotations as sentences just like this, as long as, again, you put the quotation marks around it and you note the page number at the end. Period goes right here, actually, not at the end, not on the outside. Okay, so the period goes at the end of your actual words. This lives sort of outside the paragraph, okay? So the second example this essay will tackle is related to when the caterpillar binges heavily on junk food the day before they enter the cocoon. This is green. After the caterpillar eats 10 different items all at once, the book notes that night he had a stomach ache. This is your quotation. So now we need to explain it. Just realizing I have this the wrong color. Now we have to explain it. Whoa, what did I do? 1 second. This is purple. This is blue. Okay. So now we need to explain it. Oops, now we got blue writing still. Purple. This example really will make the reader question whether or not this caterpillar is making good choices. Sometimes you have to learn from making mistakes in order to grow. Sometimes you also have to push yourself outside your comfort zone in order to get the learning / materials you need to take the next step. Since we are not able to read the mind of the main character, we will never know whether or not the caterpillar needed this much material to make their cocoon, or if they were learning an important lesson. What we should take from this, however, is that not everyone has to take the same pathway to reach their goals. In this case, the caterpillar still ended up becoming a butterfly despite the stomach ache. Okay, and then our conclusion. Therefore, this example further shows that the primary theme of this book is to trust one's instincts and to not judge others when they are following their own. Okay, so now we're on to our third body paragraph. Pausing for any questions. I know that this is a bit of a longer stream, so I appreciate everybody sticking with it, but this will be a useful tool for you as you write your essays. If people can confirm whether or not this is making any sense or not, or if people are finding this useful, I'd appreciate the feedback. I'd also appreciate the fact that some of you probably think that I'm just a wacky English teacher who's seeing way too much in this book about a caterpillar and is overthinking it a lot. And the truth of the matter is that's probably true too. Both can be true. I just find kids books. Oh yeah, this will be totally posted as material. I'm actually live typing it in the Google Drive, which is attached to the post. Here, I'll even show you, right? So right now in the classroom, there's this thing right here under today's work called The Very Hungry Caterpillar for Essay Development. There's the actual book, and this rough draft over here, this is the Google Doc that I'm actually live typing into it right now. So when you click on that, you can actually see where the essay is. So it will be there, okay? So just know that when I go in to your essay, I'm going to be doing this same sort of color coding thing where I'm going to be looking for the parts of the speech and the parts of your writing, like here's your topic sentence, here's your quote, here's your explanation, and here's your conclusion, okay? So just so you're totally clear on where it's all going to live, this is the same exercise I went through with my grade 9s, except I used green eggs and ham, okay? The trick, obviously, is that Little Brother has got way more pages than Hungry Caterpillar and way more potential examples and way more potential evidence. And so therefore, it's a little more complex. But we are using a theme in Very Hungry Caterpillar that in many ways could probably be used as something if you're doing an analysis of Marcus's character too, right? Because he trusts his instincts all the time, and lots of people judged him for it through the whole thing. So, anyways, let's finish off the essay so I can let you guys work. Okay. All right. So, third example is the end. Okay, is the payoff. Okay. So it's a beautiful butterfly. So again, if we're down here, do this. Okay. Topic sentence is in green. Actually, here, let's just put this down here again. Okay. Okay. And then I'll grab my quote again. Okay, always indent. All right, the final example of this essay is found in the climax of the story. The hungry caterpillar, through its hard work, becomes a butterfly after some time in their cocoon. Okay. This is noted on page, what is it, 23, where it says a beautiful butterfly. Okay, actually that is a comma. So if you notice in this one, we have a topic sentence right here. Okay, so we can make this green. But in this case, for the quotation, I changed it up a little bit and I actually used the page number in the sentence. If you do this, you do not need to put the page number in the citation. You only need to have the author's last name. Okay? Getting a sense of what is called the MLA format, Modern Language Association formatting, around citations, page numbers, references, and so on, is a lifelong journey of frustration. Okay? The goal is to become masters of it, still using a cheat sheet, still using a guide. You don't have to memorize it. when you get to grade 12 and onwards from university. It is way more higher stakes to cite your sources and make sure to continue to connect, the sources you're using to the writing you're doing um, within that. Okay, so this is where you just need to make sure that you're doing the basics, which is authors' last names and page numbers. Okay, so this is blue. Okay, so now it's time to explain it in purple. Okay, the main character of this story was very determined to reach their goal of becoming a butterfly. They showed us their determination by constantly eating large amounts of food and even pushing themselves to be to levels thought unsafe. Despite this, they reached their goal in short order with no negative consequences. There is, of course, always the potential for disaster, but this example shows us that this caterpillar knew their instincts, or knew that following their instincts was the right way to go. All right, and then conclusion. Therefore, this example further shows, oh no, that's too much like the previous one. Try not to repeat words. In fact, I should probably not even use the word therefore again, right? So using a thesaurus might be a good idea to think of something to help you change words. So maybe I'm just going to start with this example. This final, actually, you know what? Let's even change it to something else. Let's just say the climax of this story proves without a doubt that the primary theme that Eric Carle wished his young readers to consider is one of self-determination and non-judging of others. Okay, so as you can see, this is actually not a very big paragraph, but I still think it's pretty good. The quote is not very long, the conclusion's not very long, but it still follows the proper format. Okay, so if we hop back into very quickly, the essay plan, so the green eggs and ham essay, and we take a look at what the prompts are for the conclusion. Okay, summary of thesis statement, discussion and importance of implication of your ideas, recall key points, and then general statements about the general topic of your essay. Okay, so let's put a color code system down here again. Okay, so the first one is green. We'll say summary statement of thesis. Second one is discussion of importance and implications. And then recall key points. And then general statements about the general topic. Okay, so that's our color code for our conclusion. Okay, conclusions, in my opinion, are the hardest things to write. So, this is probably not going to be what I would keep as a final version. but it does take some time to sort of find the right tone about summing up, right? So let's start this off. So we can say, one might think that the very hungry caterpillar is just a kid's book without any real depth to it. It is important to use a critical eye to examine all media that people consume, because you never know what kind of lessons it might teach. In this case, it is clear by the examples provided above that the theme of following your instincts and not judging others is found throughout this book. This book teaches young people important skills around interpersonal development and how to get along with others. Its implications for the younger generations to continue to build strong bonds with others will allow our society to continue to be more equitable for everyone. By looking at such a silly story, including examples where a caterpillar eats apples. So which quotes did I use? I used strawberries, oranges, and junk food. Eats huge amounts of strawberries, oranges, and junk food before becoming a butterfly with a critical eye. It allows us to see that the stories we tell our young people have the potential to shape their relationships for years to come. It's a little overstated, but whatever. Essays, sometimes you just gotta go for it. All right. It is clear, therefore, that this short book has a lot to offer in making our communities more accepting of others and allowing our children to strive for their goals. Okay, so summary of thesis statement is up to here. Green. Discussions of important stuff is up to here. Recall key points is up to here. General wrap up right there. Paragraph 1, introduction. Body paragraph number 1. Body paragraph number 2. Body paragraph number 3. Conclusion. I'd give it a high mark. I mean, what do I know? I mean, I've only spelled caterpillar wrong in my title of my stream. I mean, I know a little bit about this stuff. Okay. Any questions about this essay writing? Oh, look, I spelled it wrong here too. What's wrong with me? I've kept you on for 55 minutes. I think that's a record. So, any last minute thoughts about this before I let you guys run off. And I promise that I'll keep the Google Meet at the end of the day short. Any last minute calls for attendance also, please make sure you put something in the chat. Otherwise, I will send you guys off. I'll stick around if there's any questions. Please send me Edsby messages. The draft will be there for you to see. I hope you chuckled either at the essay or at your ridiculous English teacher for his wacky ideas. Hope you learned something, and good luck with your essay writing. Look forward to seeing your introductory paragraphs and doing some color coding. Okay? So, adios for now. We'll see you around 2. All right. See you guys at 2 o'clock. Just sticking around doing the attendance and checking to see if there's any other questions. Bye, everyone.